Game, lighter flashes of probably the best I've seen him since he's been here with all of the pitches. I know there were a couple balls that were hit hard by the left-handed hitters. I just thought I'd seen it against us in our scrimmages. I don't know that I had seen maybe the fastball, curveball, slider, and change, other than maybe some flashes against us where he really had it all going for a little while. And they're tough to pitch to. I think they had 5 or 6 seniors in that lineup. There's some older guys. They have lefties and righties. The guys can clearly run. So it's not an easy lineup to navigate, and they will pressure you as they did today. And I thought he did just fine. You know, I wish after the big fifth I think we had, I wish he could have gone out and punched a little bit and gotten us through the 6th inning, but this is a weird week we've had, and it was a weird weekend, and there's a lot of, you sit on 16 hours of buses and then Florida and back, and that's another 6 hours on, it's been a tough week. So that was enough for him on short rest, and I think Army came in and got the punch out. The difference in the game was Joe Charles. You have the bases loaded, nobody out, and somebody's got to answer and respond, and your job is to bring your A stuff from that bullpen. Whether you're starting the game or whether you're coming in the middle of the game, not easy, but you have to bring your A stuff and you have to execute pitches. And I thought Micah did a really nice job of navigating the pitch calling, but the guy standing on the mound with the ball is the one that has to execute the pitches, and I thought Joe really did that, and probably the best stuff I've seen him have since he's been with me. He has been through a lot to get back where he's actually healthy and able to pitch, and he owned that moment today, and it was the difference in the game. He was really sharp against the righties and lefties. Marco's at bat. Clearly, you have to have guys deliver at moments if you're going to play the game at a high level and be a competitive team. Somebody's got to deliver, and Marco did that today. That was a really good slider that their reliever had. It was hard, and he nailed it. And I think he's probably hit as many balls hard this year with not always something to show for it, probably more than anybody on our team. And it was neat to see those balls actually land for him, not in a glove. And that was a huge moment. So that and Joe Charles pushed us through. I did not think we defended as well as I've seen us. There were some sloppy moments that we talked about a little bit, but the at-bats were enough, we did enough to give ourselves a chance to open it up, and clearly Marco was the big moment there offensively.
Cam seemed to get in a lot more leveraged counts tonight. Just how big is that for him to get ahead with the 4 pitches that he has and open up that swing and miss ability?
Huge. And I'm talking to, I think Jamie had the chart tonight. How many is that? And sometimes it's a number that I'm not prepared to have to deal with early in the game. But then he had 2 10-pitch innings maybe that kind of settled things down. He was on it. And, we're going to figure out that fastball that, there's times his lefties seem to line up with it a little bit. But he's learning, he's learning himself. And I thought today he had 4 above average pitches in play. The guy jumped the fastball and got it, but he squared it up and he got it. And then the other guy to the leadoff double. Those 2 moments, if you have them back, clearly it might have lengthened things and changed his outing a little bit, but it definitely gives you a chance to compete and win. And when you bring that, and he knows that he's got the capability to bring all of the paint and the brush and all the stuff in it and take that kid out there, pretty good.
I'm not normally one to just throw stats at you, but in the last 5 games, 13 home runs, 3 grand slams, 47 runs. I'm sure you've had teams be hot like this, but to have so many of those go over the fence, have you ever had a team that does it exactly this way?
Numbers-wise, off the cuff here, I've had 2 teams in my time that had some really gaudy offensive numbers. The hardest thing when you compare this in college baseball is the bat changes drastically. We've seen every possible kind of aluminum bat that you can throw out here to use. There are moments and years where you probably aren't going to have the capability to put those numbers up. I've had 2 teams that have done it. An Auburn team and an East Carolina team were similar to this. But that's a pretty impressive string against some good opponents, clearly. The ball, like there have been changes in the ball. I think if you look at the numbers right now, the baseball seems to be more lively, maybe. The bat testing, we bat test for both teams every game. To think about this machine that sits in there, and that's now part of what we do every day is we wheel the cart of bats in and put a sticker on it. So, the technology in the bat probably improves as the BB core or whatever it is the bat. But the ball and the physicality of the players, you have a different draft. You have older players on this field. You have more advanced players that have been playing longer. So I think when you mix all that together, and for us, like we have a nice athletic group and they have the capability to do it. Then you have to go execute at bats and swing at the right pitches, and we've done that fairly well recently.
On Tuesday, you talked about with Joe just learning how to control those moments with his lack of experience. Just how encouraging was it to see him do it the way he did, with efficiency and in the strike zone?
That was great. It was great. Like total in the moment and emotions on point, and the adrenaline and the feeling you have when you're playing the game in that moment, it can help you actually ratchet the stuff up a little bit. But it's got to be controlled intensity and adrenaline and staying within the mechanics. Like if you're not within your mechanics and lining things up the way you've trained, you're probably not going to execute the way he did today. So I thought everything he did was on point, well done, mechanics, mind, execution, really nice.
The last double that Marco hit was like almost off the ground. It's just what can you say about the natural strength that he possesses?
It's outstanding, and he gets into a nice position to hit, and he has good pitch recognition skill. I think the hardest thing when we're evaluating or watching hitters is what do they see that tells them that that's a slider or that that's a changeup. Probably more the off speed than anything else, but he's got a lot going on. But when you break it down, he's in a nice position to hit, and he stays fairly balanced within all of the movement that he has, and he's got good, quick, strong hands. So he's a competitive at bat. It's not just a guy that's really strong that's flailing away at it. He's in control of what he's trying to do, but it's very aggressive. So it's a nice combination.
You guys have been a little cautious with Diamas. Just how awesome was it to see him come back and tack on a much needed insurance run?
Yeah, no, he's great. Like, the guy works so hard, and he's battled. You look back at some of the injuries with the finger and the collarbone and stuff he dealt with last year, and then you just have to get him to the point where he's ready to go back out there. And we have guys that deserve to play. Like, there's guys on this team that deserve to be playing at a lot of positions. And in some cases, behind the plate especially, it keeps you a little bit fresh, where somebody's not absolutely getting demolished back there every game. But the guys want to play every game. The catchers want to catch every game. So we just have to assess when the right time is to try to make the maneuvers, to keep everybody involved and active, and try to line them up to be the best version of themselves they can be based on the game moment and the opponent and the timing of things.
Coach, you had a couple of technical issues today. There was a balk, there was a couple of catcher interferences. Is that something that concerns you going forward, or is that kind of just a couple one-off things?
Yeah, both teams had a catcher's interference. I don't think we've seen one all year. There was just there was some weird stuff. The clock violation.
Yeah.
We missed a sign. I did not feel like this was a clean version of things today. And they might tell you the same thing. Like, this time of the year, the travel and what's going on, it's when we walk in here to watch the game at 6:02, and here we are, we're playing, and this is great. Well, these guys have been through a lot to get to 6:02 today, and I think sometimes just the toughness mentally, you really have to check yourselves on all the details of this to be on point after what a week like we just had does to you. It's physically draining, and mentally it taxes you a little bit. So I would probably say more than anything else, that's how I felt during the game. We were not as sharp and crisp. Now, it was a well-played game against a really good team. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not really looking at just that. I see what you saw, and I understand, and it wasn't clean in some areas. But the guys dug and overcame a little bit of sloppiness to beat a really good team. That's a lot of talent. They know what they're doing. It's good. They're good.